All right, everybody. Oh, happy day. Thanks for joining with me today. We are going to be going into the leads for 2023. I know we're in 2022 as of the recording of this video, but we want to help you understand what to look forward to, what you need to find out about so that you can be a beast in this industry. So very special guest here. I've got Matt from the leadjerk.com. Matt, say, hey, thank you for joining with us today.
Hey guys, appreciate it. Jason, as always, thank you for having me on. I look forward to talking about some of this stuff and yeah, just seeing kind of helping guys out, let them know what we kind of think is going to be coming up for the end of this year as well as going into next year.
Absolutely. And thanks for joining with us here and helping the audience. And for those of you in the audience, if you're wondering how to become crazy successful, well, you've got to have leads. You got to have good leads. You got to have a lot of leads. And it is so important that you understand how some of these leads are populated, how they're produced. And Matt here at theleadjerk.com is a powerful lead provider. He's done this for a long, long time. He's been in the industry over a decade. We're talking a lot of years of experience. He's done Facebook leads, Google leads, banner leads, telemarketed leads. We're going to talk about all of that and leave nothing on the table. So I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, my goodness, if it helps you, hit the like button. Thanks for joining with us today. So Matt, I know that a lot of people these days put a lot of prioritization on kind of the Facebook lead. So why don't we start off with that? I know we're right near, as of the recording of this video, coming up into an election week.
Yeah.
With Facebook leads, first off, you've got them. They're what would you deem them with people that are kind of messing with them themselves? And I'll always put free resources down here at the bottom if you want to go play with it yourself. But if you want to buy a lead, let's talk about that. Do you think Facebook leads are like a viable source? And have you noticed with the election coming up, it gumming up the news feed for people trying to produce them? Like, you're a professional lead provider. Have you noticed it slowing that production down for you a little bit?
Yeah, it does, because what Facebook will do is like any other business, they want unfortunately want those people spending the big bucks, right? Excuse me. So what you have is you've got millions of dollars being spent per day by the candidates, right? So that is where a lot of the traffic ends up going during election cycles. I'm sure you see them. I see them every day. They're just out there. And that's kind of where, more advertisers, it doesn't matter what industry it is or what it is, public sector, government, private, that there's only so many eyes that can see something, right? No matter how big the platform is. Facebook is very large, but when you've got that much space being bought up in those feeds, there's still only so many people that are going to be able to see that. So Facebook knows this, and they kind of gravitate towards what I think they end up paying more attention to the heavy hitters. And it's always been that way on Facebook, but it just gets a little more tight during election cycles because you've got pretty much all the candidates on there, right? If they're a viable candidate, they're representing their party, they're going to be on there with Facebook ads, whether it's a poll or sending you something in Messenger even. They'll do that. All the feeds on the desktop, you'll see them on the right-hand side. And this isn't necessarily tracking cookies of where you've been on the internet or where you go, which Facebook is pretty slick at doing too. These will just appear even if you're non-political and have never voted ever. So it actually creeps up and starts affecting a lot of traffic. So yeah, it can slow things down a little bit, and yeah, it will affect quality sometimes on the prospects that you end up getting. So that's kind of what I noticed with election cycles. But as far as the other items about what my feeling is on Facebook leads overall, I think they're good. Like me and you have spoken about before, I think they're better fit for somebody who's really kind of got their act together with what they're doing with final expense insurance. I really don't recommend it for brand new guys. I really don't. I think they need to cut their teeth on a cheaper lead or something that's a little more cut and dried. Number one, cost wise, because Facebook leads are going to be more expensive. So I just feel more comfortable in somebody kind of earning their grind, getting in there and failing some, but not failing so bad that they go broke. right?
Right.
Learning as they're going. And then once they've got it down, they've learned other carriers, they learn kind of, what jives, what doesn't, the ins and outs of the business, how to, keep the conversation going with a prospect, whether it's face-to-face or telesales, all that comes into play. I think it's better suited for somebody that's kind of right at that end of that cycle where they're really starting to get their strut on and understand exactly how all this final expense insurance, sales works. The other thing you mentioned was, like going into the next year. I think Facebook is gonna be around for a while. I mean, they're transitioning to Meta and all that.
Right.
I don't think that's really going to take off as fast as people think with a virtual, world or universe or any of that.
Right.
I think things are still going to kind of stay kind of like they are now. And I think Facebook leads are going to be viable for a long time. As far as doing it yourself, if you're that diamond, right? If you're that guy that's just like super intelligent, and you figure out how to work the algorithms, and you don't mind things changing sometimes on a daily basis and the changes they make and all that stuff, and you can monitor that and you can run it yourself, then do that. But what most people find is they get in there and they figure they can, they'll buy a course, and I'm all for that. I'm capitalist, right? Do it. Go run it yourself and see how it works for you. If you do it exactly right, it'll probably work for a couple of months. But then what's going to happen is you're going to reach a certain point where you're going to need another set of eyes on it. You're going to need somebody smarter than you, somebody that's in that realm, and they've been doing that for the last 20 or 30 years. I'm not the one sitting there, setting all this up. I know enough to hire the right people to do it. So, that's what you would run into. You would end up having to have a staff of people if you're going to run any length of time on Facebook. And a solo agent is just not going to be able to do that. So
that's where a lot of people get sold this, where it's like, buy this, course, it's all done. Here you go, wrap it up in a pretty little bow. And then I've got so many agents, and I'll put this interview above as well about how a very wise, very smart man did it. And I've got so many stories of this where they buy it, they do it, and then the campaign blows up. A couple months later, I call it the honeymoon phase of the campaign. Everything goes caustic, and then sometimes the place that you even bought this course from won't even return your calls, and it's like you're blown up. You lose your entire lifetime of memories. I've had some agents have this happen. It's just, we can be a professional marketer, which I'm not against. Matt does a great job at theleadjerk.com, and he's a professional lead creator and marketer of all these different kinds of leads, which we're going to talk about for 2023 coming up. But to do Facebook leads yourself, it's great. I'll put a free resource here if you want to do it. Follow that video at the end. I'll do a pop-up, but just understand you're going to lose so much bandwidth sometimes by doing it, instead of just doing the dials and going the door knocks and making that money. There's only so much in our minds. And sometimes people get led on a goose chase that thinks that they can make their own Facebook leads, and it's just going to be $1.40, $3, $4 a lead. And I've done Facebook leads myself a long time. And it's just, everything that glitters is not always gold.
That's true. And I mean, look at Henry Ford, right? Really smart man, but he knew he wasn't smart enough to do everything. So he hired people that were smarter than him to do the stuff that he didn't know how to do. So, that's kind of how I look at it. I mean, a very wise man understands he doesn't know everything, right? So that's kind of way I kind of have my outlook on a lot of things in life, and with stuff like that, they can get very technical. I want it in the hands of a professional that actually understands this stuff. I mean, you've almost got to come out of the womb now with a lot of this stuff, and have had a tablet in your hand since you were 2 years old to really understand the whole, infrastructure of this thing that we call the World Wide Web. And then, within that, you got platforms, and one of the platforms is Facebook, and it has its own, pluses and minuses. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't discourage anybody from trying it on their own. I
Sure,
mean,
knock
go
yourself out,
for it.
go for it.
But, I've seen it time and time again that guys do it. And then they, look, if it were a case where anybody could do it, right? Just like owning your own business or being an agent, right? Everybody would do it. So it's just not possible for everybody to do that for themselves. It's hard.
It does take work. And it's like, once you get it to work, and it does work, like you can follow the free way to do it down here, and you can do it, but then it'll work for just a little bit. Then the honeymoon phase goes away.
Yep.
Things happen. Now, I mean, they change so many things with Facebook leads. And as a lead provider, that it happens to you, and you've got professionals in play to kind of move your jiving and bobbing when they're weaving to keep it working.
Facebook will flag a lot of stuff too, right? For no reason.
Right.
They're getting almost as bad as Google. But
right.
I keep saying Google's going to own the world eventually, and I'm telling you guys, watch out.
It's true.
But Google will probably buy Facebook one day. But we're really screwed.
Right. Then we're done.
But yeah, it's Facebook will I want to say it's better and worse at the same time. It's more accurate now, but they also have taken away some of the criteria you have with filters and privacy issues, and I get that. But overall, again, I say, try it if you think, do it. Like I said, there actually is that honeymoon period, and that's even with our stuff, right? You have that.
Right.
It's not just plug and play, so you constantly have to monitor things. You'll say, okay, well, this is coming in, this cost per lead, and this you're getting this many views. How many clicks are we getting? How many form fills are we getting? All this stuff, right? You have to kind of watch, and you have to do A/B split testing. There's a lot, and I'm like, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. So again, I'm not smart enough to do everything on my own, and I have to have, people that I hire to help me do a lot of this. So yeah, I mean, you're talking to a couple of guys right here that understand. Yeah, we could do it, but we still choose. Even me being a lead provider, right? I cannot sit here as Matt Lowry and do all that for the agents and be sane. It's just, so I don't really think a go-getter that's really has final expense figured out and is really even a six-figure earner. I don't think they're gonna have, number one, the patience to kind of push through on that to really figure it out, because it's really a full-time job doing that. It really is. You can't just throw. It's not like throwing an ad out there. It's not even like Google. It's not like you're not putting out. You're not pitching a tent and saying come here and buy this. It's a lot. It goes a lot deeper than that. So yeah, Facebook's good, but it can be tricky. So again, I would just try it out for yourself. You probably could, if you're pretty smart, you probably could figure out how to do some of this stuff, but it's you're motoring along, man. You're going along, you're cruising at 75 on the interstate, your leads coming in a great cost per lead, and then bam, you're like, what happened? My cost per lead just tripled. What happened? Where'd my traffic go? Where the eyes at for this? What's going on? And you got to know how to dig deep to find out what's going on. Sometimes it just ends up, you got to make a new offer and A/B split test it and find out, what pulls better.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you sharing
and you got to do all that with still keeping the intent high, right? From the prospect. You can't, I mean, especially if it's your business you're running, you can't just run a blind ad. We don't do that. We've never done that. You can't do that. Then you're just wasting money because you got somebody filling out a form, for a free Walmart gift card or something.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
You mean you're not able to produce $2 leads?
Absolutely not.
But people advertise this stuff. Oh, I get a $3 lead, a $4
No.
lead by this course. I mean, a lot of people get off course. And just for you, the audience, for 2023, nothing wrong with making and creating your own Facebook leads. If that's who you're gifted at, go for it. But just understand that the honeymoon phase will happen. It's going to sunset. Things get ugly. You may want to divorce your Facebook campaign. Just saying. Go buy leads is my recommendation for 2023. Now, if you want to do your Facebook leads, go for it. I'm a proponent of it. I'm pro for you if you're gifted, but just don't get so into that you're not into the most important thing, and that's buying leads, seeing the people. Buying leads, calling the people.
Yeah, and writing
that's
policies.
All I'm saying.
Yeah,
you got.
You can get so focused on one part of generating the lead yourself that you forget. You spent so much energy on that till you made your brain tired,
right,
to carry through to finish the deal. That happens a lot too. Guys get fatigued from trying to do it themselves. This is not back in the 70s where you could drop 1,000 direct mail cards for final expense and get back 150 leads. It's just and I know guys that did that.
Absolutely.
That are now fixing to retire, and they'll tell me that, hey, when I did, and one guy here locally, I mean, he owns a huge final expense agency, and real good guy, real good group of guys. I think they just got ate up by Integrity. I believe is going around buying a lot of people up. But he was telling me, he's like, dude, when I started, I was mailing from my house. I dropped 700 letters, print them out on a dot matrix printer, sign them, put his card in there, and mail them out. And that's how he built his business. And it worked back then.
It did.
But it just doesn't work today. And things with digital changes too.
Absolutely. And for you, the audience, things we have to adapt. So as we move into 2023, keep doing what works, but then sometimes you've got to adjust a couple little things. And I run a national insurance agency here at jasonfinalexpense.com, and I do recruit and train and partner with amazing agents that are veterans and new, but we understand we have to get a lot of leads. Leads are the lifeblood of this space. You got to get good ones. You've got to get as many as you need to get the job done. And sometimes you go into 2023 with this mindset of, oh, I'm going to go get it done, but you lose your vision, right? You lose your vision of how are you going to attain this beautiful sunrise? You've got to see these people to attain this sunrise in your career for 2023. We've got to talk about leads. So Facebook leads, we've talked about, that's important, but just don't make that the only leg on your stool is my 2 cents. And if you do, buy a lot of them, Facebook leads are kind of, do you notice that the buyer intent is there for sure? I've sold a lot with Facebook leads, but for me, they kind of seem like fast food. They're good. They work quick, but you got to work them fast. And that's where kind of veteran agents can survive on those easier when they're trained.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. They're good leads. You got, I don't think you got to call them in 5 minutes, but I mean, within 24 hours, is always better. Right. So absolutely. I think, you got to be quick to get in touch with them. At least email, text, or phone call. You got to be quick to get in touch with them. And, in saying that, if you are doing this yourself, I'm not sure how quick you're going to be. Because you're going to be focused over here on other things, generating the lead rather than following up on the lead. So you got to be careful not to get in that cycle too. So yeah, just, go at your own pace, try it out. I mean, if nothing else, it'll be a great learning experience for you.
Absolutely.
Right? You're going to learn something. You're going to learn something from it. You're going to learn something. You're going to learn more about yourself from it. You're going to learn more about how final expense works. You're going to learn a little bit more about intent of a lead. You're going to learn about what separates good Facebook leads from not so good Facebook leads, depending on how people fill out whatever, right? So you'll see the back end of that on how that works. And you'll probably be able to tell from there on out if you purchase Facebook leads, whether or not they're doing it the right way. So at least you'll have that, right?
Absolutely.
And that's always a better thing for an educated buyer. They're the easiest to sell to.
100%.
Yeah.
So for 2023, Facebook leads here to stay, good to go.
Yep.